and the passing of Lord Buddha. On this day, Buddhists around the world gather to commemorate and reflect on the three jewels of Buddhism: the Lord Buddha, his teaching or Dhamma, and the community of monks or the Sangha. Excellencies, this year, 2014, marks 15 years since the 54th session of the General Assembly in 1999 adopted a resolution recognizing Buddhism's continued contribution to the spirituality of humanity and the International Day of Vesak. This year's celebrations actually began this morning. The permanent mission of Thailand, along with the member countries of the organizing committee, made merit by offering food to Buddhist monks at the Thai mission. The ceremony was attended by monks from the various Buddhist communities from Bangladesh, Cambodia, Japan, Myanmar, and Thailand. Many of the venerable monks are here with us now, joined by those from Nepal and Sri Lanka. This afternoon, we are both fortunate and honored to have with us His Excellency John Ash, President of the General Assembly, and the representative of the Secretary General, His Excellency Ambassador Nasser Abdulaziz Al Nasser, High Representative for the Alliance of Civilization. To have with us also the permanent representatives from Buddhist and non-Buddhist countries alike together in this chamber is the best way that I can think of to celebrate and highlight the interfaith nature of the celebrations. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, when Lord Buddha gave his first sermon in the Deer Park, he spoke of the turning of the Dhamma wheel. He chose the beautiful symbol of the wheel with its 8 spokes to represent the noble eightfold path to peace and enlightenment. First among the 8 is the right view, meaning the right way for one to think about life is to see the world as it should be seen, with wisdom and compassion. Second, the right thought. We are what we think. Clear and kind thoughts build good and strong character. Third, the right speech. By always speaking kind and helpful words, we build respect and trust from others. Fourth, the right conduct. No matter what we say, others will know us from the way we act and behave. Before we criticize others, we should first look to see what we do ourselves. Fifth, the right livelihood. This means conducting ourselves in such a way that does not hurt others. As Lord Buddha taught us, do not harm your living by harming others. Do not seek happiness by making others unhappy. Sixth, the right effort. A worthwhile life means doing our best at all times and having goodwill towards others. Seventh, the right mindfulness. This means being aware of our thoughts, our words, and deeds at all times. 8, the right concentration. One should focus on one's thoughts and object at any given time. And by doing so, we can attain true peace of mind. Regardless of one's beliefs or religions we choose to practice, I feel the world would be much better and a peaceful place if all peoples observed and practiced some or all of the above eightfold path. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Vesak Day is an opportunity for each and every one of us to reflect and we commit ourselves to Lord Buddha's fundamental teachings, which in the most simple terms is to do good, to refrain from doing bad, and to purify one's thoughts and minds. If we can do that, I'm sure we will have a meaningfully observed and celebrated Vesak Day properly. Excellencies, I cannot conclude my remarks without expressing my sincere thanks and due recognition to His Excellency Ambassador Palita Rana and members of the Sri Lanka mission to the UN for having coordinated the Day of Vesak celebration for the past 3 consecutive years. Our thanks also goes to every member of the organizing committee for their cooperation in preparing this year's celebrations. Allow me now to humbly request the Venerable monks to give us their blessing on this day of Vesak before we proceed with the rest of the program.
General Assembly, John Ash, His Excellencies, in terms of Dhamma, let's all of us together be with us, give blessing to the world as well as to all who gathered here. Wishing peace and happiness to all beings, monks will be chanting the Vinta Sutta, which talks with the thought that whatever living beings there may be, without exception, weak or strong, long or large, medium or short, subtle or gross, visible or invisible, living near or far, born or coming to birth, may all beings be well and happy with their minds. With that thought, join with us for the chanting of blessing. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Itipiso bhagavana arahant samma sambuddho vidyacharana sampanno sugato lokavidu anuttaro purisa dhamma sarati satta deva manussana buddho bhagavati swattmato bhagavata dhammo sanditthiko akaliko ehi vassiko panayiko pacchattam veditappo vinyuniti sivatipanno bhagavato savaka sangho uchupatipanno bhagavato savaka sangho nyayapatipanno bhagavato savaka sangho samiti patipanno bhagavato savaka sangho yavinam chattari purisa yugani adda purisa pukkalaye sa bhagavato savaka sangho vahuneyo vahuneyo dakhineyo anjali karaniyo anuttara
human history. As we once again commemorate the three significant events in the life of Buddha, we also honor the many great contributions of one of the oldest religions in the world, which for over 2.5 millennia has influenced humankind and our approach to spirituality and for many defines a way of life. This aid holds special significance for hundreds of millions of Buddhists in thousands of temples across the world, in the east, the west, the north, and the south. People have and are celebrating the insightful messages of the Buddha. While Buddhism originated in the East, teachings and the natural yearnings to end human suffering are so universal that they have been assimilated by many cultures. The message of Buddha stands today as unaffected by time and the expansion of knowledge as when it was first enunciated. It continues to be a message of loving kindness, unity, mindfulness, compassion, peace, tolerance, and nonviolence, which reigns intrinsically true in our hearts, and yet we find so challenging to implement in our daily lives. So many of the challenges we seek to resolve here in our Assembly of Nations, from war and conflict to environmental degradation to oppression and inequality, could benefit from the teachings the Lord Buddha shared with his followers more than 2,500 years ago. Buddhism appeals to reason and freedom of thought, recognizing the inherent dignity of the human person and the human mind. It calls for equality and understanding that its teachings and practices are equally accessible to all, regardless of country, color, creed, or gender. It was a great man of science, Albert Einstein, who said, and I quote, "If there is any religion that would cope with modern scientific needs, it would be Buddhism." As Buddhists worldwide pay homage to a prince who forsook the pleasures of a royal household to bring peace and happiness to humanity, let us look to the wisdom of the message of this religion that can be applied to our lives and the work we do. And as we set our minds to a new development agenda, let us look beyond the interests of the moment and toward the sage and far-reaching decisions that will indeed put our planet and its people on the right path. I thank you.
Excellency, President of the General Assembly, may I now invite His Excellency Vesak Al-Nasser, High Representative for the Alliance of Civilization, representing the Secretary General this evening, to deliver his address.
Thank you. Good evening, Your Excellency Nora Sheikh Hasini, Ambassador of the Kingdom of Thailand, Your Excellency John Ash, President of the General Assembly, Venerable Monk, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. I'm honored to be here today to represent His Excellency Mr. Ban Ki-moon, the Secretary General, at this event celebrating the International Day of Vesak. At the outset, I would like to recall the high value the UN attached to such meaningful anniversary, as officially reflected on the UN's GA Resolution 54/115 of the year 2000. Since then, this day, which is the most sacred on the Buddhist calendar, has been annually commemorated at the United Nations. I trust that today's program will be an inspiring event for all of us. As the High Representative of the UN Alliance of Civilizations, I would like first to highlight the unity between Buddha's message and the United Nations Alliance, the UNAOC's principles enhancing and fostering stability, prosperity, and peaceful coexistence. On such a day, together with our Buddhist friends, we celebrate Buddha's birth, enlightenment, and his passing away. His message of non-violence, understanding, compassion, and peace has an important role in today's setting, touched by ongoing violence and conflict. What does this mean for us? Buddhist heritage gives us the wisdom to face the challenges we find in our path. The Buddhist path demands courage, patience, compassion, and flexibility. In this regard, we have to empower younger generations, since they are those who will be the leaders of tomorrow's world. The UNAOC is a unique entity within the UN network, as it is the only framework aimed at promoting understanding, reconciliation, and forgiveness. We have taken the time to understand the dynamics and social processes that drive interfaith dialogue and encourage peaceful coexistence. We recognize that we must give every group, no matter its practices, faith, or choice, an equal chance, an equal voice, and decision-making we can empower them. The mission of the AOC is to be understood as a soft power tool to dissolve tensions rooted in cultural differences and for building understanding between communities and nations. We develop programs which encourage respect for cultural diversity and inter-religious dialogue, which address issues as fear, intolerance, and xenophobia. Thank you for being here today for this special Vesak Day as members of the human family, regardless of our race, religion, ethnicity, cultural, or nationality. We stand on social harmony and religious identities. From that exclusive position, let us work together for a world at peace. Today, we will hear uplifting stories of people striving together for the common good, even in the face of armed conflicts or natural disasters. We will hear voices of wisdom from our great faith traditions, calling us to a world of peace, justice, and environmental sustainability. It is my distinct honor now to read the message of the Secretary General, His Excellency Mr. Ban Ki-moon. Vesak Day is a joyous occasion. It marks the birth, enlightenment, and passing of the Buddha. On this day, millions of people, Buddhists and non-Buddhists alike, take time to reflect on the life and teaching of the Buddha and to receive guidance from them. The observance of Vesak falls at a time of continuing profound and painful loss. In November 2013, Typhoon Haiyan hit landfall. It was one of the strongest tropical cyclones ever recorded and it devastated portions of Southeast Asia, particularly the Philippines. Tragically, it killed at least 6,268 people on that country alone. Natural disasters such as these have resulted in untold suffering. Thousands have died and many more have lost their families, homes, and livelihoods. In the shadow of these enormous tragedies, the Buddha's message of peace, compassion, and love for all living beings brings added urgency. It tells us to open our hearts and embrace our fellow human beings, especially those in need. At a time of increased tensions in parts of Asia, these, particularly on the Korean Peninsula, these timeless teachings must guide governments and the international community. We have to rise above narrow self-interest and think and act as members of one global community. Let us pledge to work together for the common good and for the betterment of all humankind. I thank you for your commitment to these ideals and wish you a memorable and joyous Vesak Day. And of course, and I thank you very much.
I thank the High Representative for the Alliance of Civilization for the statement and also for the statement of the Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, much as he would like to stay with us, the President of the General Assembly has another prior engagement and at an appropriate time may have to leave us soon. But allow me to recognize his Chef de Cabinet, Ambassador Ballard, and Deputy Chef de Cabinet, Ambassador Sinclair, for joining us. Thank you. Excellencies, as agreed upon, we shall now proceed with statements by the participating states in alphabetical order, but with due regard given to the level of the speakers. I have on my list the Deputy Prime Minister of Nepal, 12 permanent representatives to be followed by representatives at other levels. I would like to invite the speakers to come up to the lectern because for some of you there will be videos. Some of the statements will be accompanied by videos. So it will be easier for the audience to see you if you kindly come up to the lectern. So I have the honor to invite His Excellency, Mr. Prakar Man Singh, Deputy Prime Minister of the Federal Democratic Republic of Nepal, to the lectern to deliver the statement. Deputy Prime Minister, you have it.
Ambassador Norajit Singha Seni, Permanent Representative of Thailand, Ambassador Mr. John Ash, President of UN General Assembly, Representative Mr. Ban Ki-moon, Secretary General of the United Nations, Mr. Nasir Abdulaziz Al-Nasir, High Representative for the Alliance of Civilizations, Venerable monks, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. 14 years ago, on 8th February 2000, the United Nations General Assembly unanimously adopted Resolution 54-115 in order to internationally recognize the day of Vesak at the United Nations headquarters and other offices. Nepal, as a proud co-sponsor of that important resolution and as a home to Lumbini, the birthplace of Buddha, has since been participating in the observance of Vesak in New Year. Vesak Day, situated on the day of the full moon in May every year, is a thrice blessed day. It was on this day that Prince Siddhartha Gautama was born in the gardens of Lumbini in 623 BC, 623 BC. On the same day, 30 years later, he delivered the first sermon at Sarnath following his enlightenment. And again on this day, at the age of 80, he attained Mahaparinirvana. On behalf of government and people of Nepal, on this remarkable occasion, I would like to extend warm greetings and profound compliments to the hundreds of millions for whom the Buddha's teaching have helped illuminate their lives. Excellencies, in over 2.5 millennia, the Buddha's immortal teachings of peace, harmony, compassion, non-violence, and tolerance have spread without heed of civilization or time. These ideals lie at the very foundation of the United Nations. They should reverberate in these very corridors and halls and manifest in the organization's work around the globe. Buddha's own lifetime might not have been as sophisticated and dangerous as today. Given how our world has been altered irrevocably by technological advancements, depleting resources and weapons of mass destruction, yet his world was no less beset with dukkha, the fundamental misery of human being that extends from the common individual to those in power. The Buddha took it upon himself to try and uplift the world from a condition of misery to a state of enlightened salvation. It is amazing to see how clearly, how deeply, how sincerely, touchingly and persuasively, and yet how serenely the Buddha summarized human misery and its causes, and sought to address them with love, forgiveness, empathy, tolerance, and non-violence. Excellencies, I personally feel honored to be part of this ceremony today. My revered father, late Ganesh Man Singh, who fought for peace, democracy, and human rights in Nepal for over half a century, was honored with the Bhutan Peace Run Award in 1992 and the United Nations Human Rights Award in 1993. Nepal's pursuit of peace is greatly inspired and energized by such recognitions. Today, together with its commitment to usher in a constitution through the Constituent Assembly to bring about peace, progress, and prosperity in the country, and also to contribute to the world peace through the United Nations peacekeeping and peacemaking efforts around the world. The government of Nepal is effortful to developing Lumbini as a fountain of world peace. On this occasion, I am also happy to share the joy of instituting the statue of Lord Buddha at the Peace Palace, the headquarters of the International Court of Justice, amidst a dedicated grand function in The Hague on 24th June 2013, at the behest of the government of Nepal and the Nepali diaspora. The Buddha propounded a way of life for us all to transcend endless suffering and achieve happiness and peace. It was he who said that hatred never cease by hatred in this world. By love alone they cease. With this message in mind, on this very special day, let us reflect on what we have been doing here at the United Nations to do away with the miseries that plague human beings and to usher in a time of peace, progress and prosperity, and thus pay the only true homage to the great ascetic, teacher, practitioner and apostle of peace. I thank you all.
Short video presentation from Nepal before I give the floor to the representative of Bhutan.
Known to the world as the Enlightened One, the Apostle of Peace, and an inspiration for all. This is the place where Lord Buddha was born, Lumbini, in the southwestern plains of Nepal. Buddhism spread from the Himalayan foothills to Sri Lanka, Japan, and China. As Buddhism spread far and wide, the birthplace of Lord Buddha, Lumbini, assumed even greater significance with a growing number of visitors. However, after Ripumala's visit in the 14th century, Lumbini and Kapilvastu slowly converted into bushland, and Lumbini was almost forgotten. The discovery of the Ashoka pillar by then General Kargasamsher and Dr. Alois Führer, with inscription in 1896 establishing Lumbini as the birthplace of Lord Buddha in the district of Rupandehi, Nepal, a sacred pilgrimage for the Buddhist world. According to Buddhist literary sources, around 623 BC, Queen Maya Devi was on her way to Devdaha, her maternal home. Enjoying the luxuriance of Lumbini garden, suddenly a pain she feels, knowing what is to come. She enters the Pushkarini pond to cleanse herself. After emerging from the pond, she proceeded towards the north, looking for some support. She holds a branch of a sal tree, and there a child is born, who was to become Lord Buddha, the Enlightened One. The engraving on the nativity sculpture depicts the moment of Buddha's birth. The visit of Emperor Ashoka in 249 BC is significant because of the installation of the Ashoka pillar with inscriptions that provide epigraphic evidence. The inscriptions describe King Piyadasi Ashoka, the beloved of the gods, in the 20th year of reign, himself made a royal visit. Shakyamuni Buddha was born here. Therefore, the birth spot, marker stone, was worshipped and a stone pillar was erected. The Lord having been born here, the tax of the Lumbini village was reduced to the 8th part only. Emperor Ashoka also reset the nativity statue and built many stupas and Buddhist edifices beside the Ashoka pillar. According to the Chinese traveler Huinsan, who visited Lumbini in the 7th century, the top of the pillar carried a statuette of a horse. However, the horse was knocked off by a thunderbolt that struck the pillar. Several accounts of ancient travelers and the findings of research scholars and archaeologists established Tilorakot, 28 kilometers west of Lumbini, as the capital from where King Suddhodana ruled. According to Purnachandra Mukherjee, an Indian archaeologist, the Lara code fulfills all the external conditions mentioned in the Buddhist literatures. Festivals celebrated with enthusiasm and devotion are the life of Nepalese. Lord Buddha was born on full moon day of Vaishak, May-June, and this day is observed as Buddha Purnima. Lord Buddha also attained enlightenment on full moon of Vaishak. The day of his passing away was again full moon day of Vaishak. Therefore, full moon of Vaishak is celebrated as the thrice blessed day. As years go by, Lumbini continues to grow in importance as a sacred pilgrimage for more than 600 million Buddhists around the world. The teachings of Lord Buddha are relevant even today, and scholars turn to Lumbini, where Lord Buddha was born, for inspiration. The birthplace of Lord Buddha and this eternal peace flame bears special significance for humanity.
Congratulate the Constitution of Nepal for such a wonderful, inspiring film. I now have the pleasure and honor to invite His Excellency Mr. Abdul Kalam Abdul Momen, Ambassador and Permanent Representative of the People's Republic of Bangladesh, to deliver his statement. Ambassador.
Thank you, Chair, Venerable Monks, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Bangladesh Mission and the people of Bangladesh, I feel honored to participate in this auspicious occasion of Vesak Day, a day to commemorate the birth, the enlightenment, and passing away of Parinirvana of Gautam Buddha. I would like to take this opportunity to thank Ambassador Narajit Sinhasini, Permanent Representative of Thailand, and also his colleagues at the Thai Mission for coordinating this year's celebration. Lord Buddha's teaching have crossed continents, has traversed time, and motivated millions across nations. Celebrating Vesak Day inspires us to make special efforts to bring happiness, especially to the marginalized, the poor, the aged, the handicapped, and the sick. The message of compassion, peace, and goodwill taught by Siddhartha is as relevant today as it was a millennia before. His guidance to lead honest lives, to be kind to every creature, and to bring peace and harmony to humanity is a beacon to all societies at all times. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, historical records show that Buddhism, which spread from the Indian subcontinent, was established in the present-day Bangladesh as early as in 3rd century BC. Over the centuries, Buddhism has indeed made deep impression on our soil, on our cultural, spiritual, and intellectual lives. We are humbled by the fact that the largest Buddhist monastery or vihara on the south of the Himalaya was located on the northern part of Bangladesh in Paharpur. Mr. Chair, ladies and gentlemen, Bangladesh is a nation that consists of diverse religious groups that have coexisted in complete harmony and peace for generations. The tolerance and even appreciation for the neighbor's religion makes us one of the most moderate and liberal people in our area. The people from different religious background share a relationship of mutual respect and are free to practice their own religion and culture. Our Buddhist community practice their religion with full rights as equal citizens of Bangladesh. The government has created separate welfare trust for the Buddhist community, and special care is taken in relation to their holy places. The Buddha Purnima or Vaishakhi Purnima as Vesak Day is known in my country for centuries, is celebrated every year nationally. It is a national holiday and special programs are organized all over the country to commemorate this day. Our Bangladesh permanent mission here in New York is closed today as Vesak Day. In order to create a mindset of tolerance, a mindset of respect and love for others, Bangladesh helped passing a culture of peace resolution to have sustainable peace and stability in this planet Earth. Venerable monks, excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, for us, the negotiators at the United Nations, Vesak Day has a special significance. This day reminds us our duty to humanity, our duty to poor, our duty to the sick, the vulnerable, and the marginalized people throughout the world. This day again reignites in us to work united for a pro-people, pro-planet, inclusive and peaceful, sustainable world. Lord Buddha taught us to love people and also God's creations, and we must not forget his message, the message of compassion and devotion to human welfare. Today, let us renew our vows to end hunger and poverty, to end discrimination and injustice, and to end deprivation and sufferings for all people across the globe. Lord Buddha was a human being. He was born as a human being. He lived and died as a human being. He is a testimony that human being can achieve nirvana provided you work for it. Let his spirit inspire and guide us. May peace be upon all of us. I thank you.
Ambassador and permanent representative of Bangladesh joining us tonight for his inspiring words and for his kind words addressed to me and my colleagues of the mission. And I now have the honor to invite Her Excellency Mrs. Kun San Si Nam here, Ambassador and permanent representative of the Kingdom of Bhutan, to deliver the statement. Ambassador.
Venerable monks, Your Excellency, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to address you on this Vesak Day, when millions around the world celebrate Lord Buddha's birth, enlightenment, and parinirvana. In Bhutan, we refer to the Buddha as Sangye Chomdende. Sang refers to his clearing away all poisons and ignorance. Ge signifies the expansion of wisdom. Chom stands for his subduing of the four evils. Den symbolizes the endowment of the six paramitas, and De refers to his surpassing the two extremes. Lord Buddha's teachings encourage the cultivation of loving kindness, equanimity, and happiness. In their essence, we find all the solutions to alleviate the suffering and to promote global peace. This day, in one sense, is a celebration of the historical Buddha, but in a deeper spiritual sense, it provides us with the opportunity to live in accordance with the essence of the Buddha's teachings, to be mindful of self and others, and to live in peace and harmony, which is achieved through respect, tolerance, and compassion for all beings. These words of the Lord Buddha so beautifully convey what we all can aspire to. Dikpa chiang mejate, gewa finsum sokpa ja, rangi semni yungse de, Dini Sangye Tempaye. It translates into commit no evil, practice good, kind, and generous deeds. Subdue one's own ignorant mind. This is the Buddha's teachings. As globalization increases, the interdependence that Lord Buddha taught us over 2,600 years ago is more relevant than ever before. The fact that we are becoming more and more interconnected global citizens are compelling reasons why we must work together and to help the less fortunate than ourselves. Overcoming ignorance and expanding wisdom will lead us to view others with compassion, practice kindness, and understand each other's perspectives. These in turn will enable us to create a more egalitarian, sustainable, and peaceful world. Through cooperation and harmonious conduct, we can transform this world into a better place for each one of us, each nation, every sentient being under the sky. These are the very principles that the United Nations stand for, and we as member states must be steadfast in its pursuit. Mr. Chairman, benefactors of the noble Dharma, His Majesty the King, the Royal Government and the people of Bhutan, join me in extending our warmest wishes to you, the members of the August Directorate. We wish that this auspicious day brings to all what it signifies for us, wisdom, peace, and happiness. In concluding, Mr. Chairman, I would like to thank Ambassador Norachit and his team from the Permanent Mission of Thailand for having coordinated the Vesak Day celebrations this year. Tashitale, and thank you very much.
Thank Your Excellency, the Permanent Representative of the Kingdom of Bhutan. Thank her for the best wishes and kind words. May I now invite His Excellency Mr. Thai, Ambassador and Permanent Representative of the Kingdom of Cambodia, to deliver the statement. Ambassador.
Venerable Monk, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, I would like first of all to thank His Excellency Ambassador Norachit Sinhasini, Permanent Representative of Thailand, and his colleagues for hosting this year's celebration of the Buddhist Day of Vesak. Today is particularly auspicious as the Vesak Day falls on the year 2558 of the Buddhist calendar. Buddhism was born on that day and has millions of followers all over the world. Buddhism is not only a religion, but a philosophy preaching selflessness, compassion, tolerance, and non-violence that leads to a perpetual peace of mind, reachable to all, big or small, poor or rich in the society. The day of Vesak is a very important day for all Buddhists from all traditions and backgrounds, no matter what sect or denomination they belong to, Mahayana or Theravada Buddhism. Generally speaking, the day of Vesak is a Buddhist grand occasion, specifically celebrated in dedication to the birth, enlightenment, and nirvana, the passing away of the Gautama Buddha, who indefatigably spent for 45 years of his lifetime expounding Dharma for the sake of all sentient beings overcome with greed, hatred, and delusion regardless of race, color, ethnicity, faith, and territories. Cambodia's constitution makes Buddhism the state religion. Nowadays, over 90% of Cambodia's 14.4 million people are Buddhists. Buddhism in Cambodia plays a crucial role at the village community and societal levels in promoting a meaningful peace, healing, and reconciliation process in guiding a people-centered development that is culturally and environmentally sensitive and in contributing to the wider moral and intellectual regeneration of the country. Traditionally, Buddhist understandings of peace begin with inner peace, born of compassion and loving kindness in the individual mind. Through example and teaching, peace within individual radiates outward to the family, to the community, to the nation, and to the world. Peace is also tied to individual practice of the 5 Buddhist precepts against killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, wrong speech, including lying, and intoxication. Currently, most part of the world is increasingly being plagued and tormented by terrorism, violence, aggression, and discrimination, primarily due to the lack of mutual understanding, compassion, tolerance, patience, and cooperation. As the event was formally recognized by the United Nations in its resolution in 1999, all Buddhists from various traditions and denominations throughout the world gather together as a body to spread the message of peace, compassion, and tolerance to the world. This reflects unity and friendship among various traditions to disseminate and promote the rich values, philosophy, and principles of the teachings of Lord Buddha, and to remind everyone to live in harmony with people of the faiths, of other faiths. Last but not least, I'm strongly confident that the Buddhist gathering from various traditions will surely gain momentum for global peace and positive change by means of unity and friendship and the observance of Buddhist philosophy to achieve a better world to live on. I would like to take this opportunity to wish Venerable monks, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen who have gathered here today a happy Vesak, as well as the 4 gems of Buddhist blessing. In our language, Ajubwana Sukha Pula. In English, longevity, nobility, healthiness, and strength. Thank you for your kind attention.
His Excellency, the permanent representative of Cambodia, for his kind words. I now have the pleasure to invite His Excellency Mr. Ashok Kumar Mukherjee, Ambassador and Permanent Representative of India, to deliver his statement. His statement will be followed by a short video. That's all.
Thank you, Norajit. Thank you very much for inviting us to join you in this function. Venerable monks, Excellencies, friends from near and far, I am indeed delighted to be in your midst on this very auspicious day of Vesak. We celebrate this day in India as the day of Purnima, which is the national holiday in our country, to honor the historic day marking the birth of Lord Buddha. We warmly welcome this initiative and appreciate the efforts of member states, and I would particularly like to express appreciation to you, Ambassador Norajit Sinaseni, and members of your mission for coordinating this year's event so well. Friends, the International Day of Vesak and the message of Lord Buddha continue to resonate around the world more than 2.5 millennia after his Mahaparinirvana. As you are all well aware, Vesak is also an occasion to reaffirm and strengthen the cultural and civilizational ties that bind the nations of our world. In India, the philosophy and traditions and cultural context of the age of the Buddha are so deeply enmeshed in the fabric of our nation that they have become an inseparable part of the diverse tapestry and edifice of India's composite culture. As we celebrate the International Day of Vesak, it would be pertinent to ask ourselves why the essential crux of Lord Buddha's message continues to reverberate 2.5 millennia after the attainment of enlightenment. For laymen, the success and continued relevance of this message, its spread to lands thousands of miles from where it originated, lies in the essential simplicity